Welcome to another recording of a Black Bear Screenwriters Collective session. Tonight, we are presenting a table read of short scripts written by our members, some mini plays, and some are the first 10 pages of feature-length screenplays. I'm Veronica Coyne, organizer of the Screenwriters Collective, and I'm proud to introduce some members that were able to join us tonight and sharing their work. Some of us are writers, some of us are actors, but we all enjoy getting together and table reading every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Every second Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. So let me introduce some of our writers and actors tonight: Mariana Alsop, Roger Weissman, Deborah Lerner Duane, Chelsea Komorowski, Timothy Laurel Harrison, Margaret Harris, and JB joining us tonight. All right, so we're going to get started with our first short play tonight, Family Strangers by Deborah Lerner Duane. Would you like to say a few words about that, Deb?
Thanks, Veronica. Family Strangers was chosen by the Luna Stage New Moon Festival, Short Play New Moon Festival in 2016. Luna Stage is in West Orange, New Jersey, and it is a play about family dynamic with a little bit of a twist.
Okay, and I think Chelsea, you're going to be narrator.
Yes. Am I good to start?
Yes.
Okay. So let's
go to a summer evening.
A summer evening, 2010. The outside deck of Fran and Donald's suburban home. Family is silently sitting at the outdoor table, drinking iced tea and picking at a platter of cut up fruit. They're clearly disturbed about something.
Craig is thinking of canceling the whole thing.
He can't do that. It's Jared's big day.
He can, and he might. Dad, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that we have family in Europe and they're coming to visit. Out of nowhere, we have Hoffman relatives. What could be a better gift for my only grandchild, my Jared, than Hoffman's?
And the rest of it?
Barbara, don't make this harder on your father than it already is.
I just want to understand. Maybe if you explain it in words of one syllable.
What's to understand? Daddy got some letters and then a phone call from a cousin in Berlin. The cousin's father was Opa's brother. He wants to visit us, so Daddy invited him.
Him, his wife, his grown children, and his 3 grandchildren. Thank you, Charlene, for your usual impeccable job of turning the complicated into something even I can absorb.
Oh, you said you wanted to hear it in words of one syllable, okay? Daddy got a letter from Berlin.
You'll have to tell me someday how you lived through the embarrassment of having to admit that Charlene Hoffman is your daughter.
We live this solitary life, so different from everyone else. For 60 years, I thought our relatives had been killed in the camps. You know all this.
Daddy always wanted cousins, so he could talk about them with his friends, talked about theirs.
It might be a stretch to call these people what I always wanted.
But it's such a dramatic story. Daddy grows up with no brothers, no sisters.
I get it, Charlene.
Only his immigrant parents who arrive on our golden shores after the horror and deprivation of Europe's war, who carry their pain in silence and raise their only child in an isolated world, never sharing their sorrow or their secrets, their many, many secrets.
I prefer not to see the drama, Charlene. It's revolting, to be honest.
You refuse to see the poetry. Your world is so literal and unpleasant. Besides, you can't choose your relatives.
Don't remind me.
Don, have you shown the girls the actual letter from Joseph?
Donald takes an envelope out of his jacket pocket and opens the letter. He reads,
Dear Donald, it has been my great pleasure corresponding via email with you for these few months. We share so many wonderful accounts of our family. I very much like hearing stories of your parents, who are my Uncle Meyer and Tante Lena. You have created a beautiful picture of your life. I especially like hearing about your childhood in Quincy, Massachusetts.
You have no idea how hard it was for your father to come up with stories that didn't end with your grandfather storming out of a room or your grandmother pleading with him to eat just one more piece of strudel.
I hope I have done the same to describe our life in Berlin. I write this letter on paper so we might exchange photographs to see our fathers and Uncle Harold as young men. Sadly, this is the only photograph I have. It is 1938, I think, or 1939. Our fathers are proud and strong, not like later. Perhaps soon you can send photos of Uncle Meyer and Tante Lena during the years you were growing up in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Donald removes a photograph from the envelope. Charlene gets closer to Donald to see it. Donald, Fran, and Charlene look at the photo, passing it from one to another. This is the first time Charlene is seeing the photo. She's shocked but fascinated. Charlene brings the photo to Barbara, who is horrified by what she sees. Barbara pushes it away.
This is vile. How can you look at it? Dad, you should burn it.
It's 70 years ago, Bobby. They're all dead now. Young men always do look so handsome in uniforms. Even those. Look, this must be Opa. How old was he back in 1938? Probably 18? Is Jared his clone or what?
Barbara pushes the photo away again.
They're Nazis. Can you not show me a picture of three brothers wearing Nazi uniforms? And stop saying how much one of them looks like my son.
Bobby, stop. This is hurting your dad's feelings.
And since when is it a crime for Jared to look like Opa? That's the first thing any of our Blumenstein cousins say every time they see him. Bobby, Jerry looks so much like your grandfather Hoffman, the shape of his eyes, his stocky little body, that dimple when he smiles. Craig must feel left out of the gene pool.
Our Blumenstein cousins are half-wits.
Now you're hurting my feelings.
People joined the Nazi Party for different reasons, I'm told. Self-protection or keeping your business. Hitler Youth was mandatory for children older than 10. Maybe that's a part of my family story.
Next, you'll start telling me that they were mesmerized by Hitler's screaming speeches. Oh, great orator, that one.
He was.
Barbara expresses disgust.
I saw newsreels.
Barbara expresses further disgust.
In college? Modern European history?
Oh, I forgot. That must have been the semester that you took Nazi propaganda in between British literature and biology for bimbos.
Barbara, stop it. Now, look, everyone is a bit on edge.
A monumental understatement.
What was I supposed to say to Joseph? He called long distance for Berlin. He was so excited about their trip.
You say, see you at the hotel.
Bobby, please understand your father has no one.
He has us. He has Craig and Jared.
And now he has a cousin. Think of what your life would be like without Charlene or your own cousins.
It just seems so natural to invite them all. I guess I just got carried away.
You should have heard Dad on the phone. He was speaking German the way he used to when Opa and Oma were still alive.
Not quite. I actually used the word Spaß. It means fun. And Glücklich means happy.
Happy. You know what it means? How could you just do this without consulting Craig and me? It's not like we're hosting a family barbecue in our backyard. This is a major life event, and it's costing us a fortune.
You know how much it costs. I already told you and Craig that we'll pay for Joseph's family. And I've apologized several times for my irrational exuberance.
You girls should have seen it. Dad, irrationally exuberant.
How do we introduce Joseph and his cast of thousands to Craig's mother? Esther, dear, we'd like you to meet my dad's family, who we thought were dead. And what a surprise! Only some of them were Nazis. As a matter of fact, you used to cook matzo ball soup for a couple of them at Passover every year.
Dad, you haven't said what Joseph's reaction was when you told him they're invited to a bar mitzvah. Was he shocked?
I didn't use the word bar mitzvah. I said it was das Fest, party.
A party that starts in a synagogue.
We still have a few weeks. I plan to call Joseph on Sunday and tell him a little bit more about das Fest.
Does Joseph even know we're Jewish, Dad?
It hasn't really come up.
With all those emails you're exchanging, you didn't even think to mention that important fact?
Why would it even be discussed? Do you talk about religion with relatives?
But it's different for Dad.
Different because your grandparents' generation didn't speak about what happened during the war? Why would Daddy tell Joseph that until a few months ago, he thought he was the child of Holocaust survivors, broken Jews who rejected their religion?
Only now we know the truth.
Bobby, you loved Opa and Oma.
Of course I did.
They never said or did anything to betray themselves. None of us had any idea what they once believed.
And how do we know they didn't hold on to their beliefs?
They loved you girls completely.
We were their only grandchildren.
You were Jewish grandchildren with a Jewish mother, and they had a son who assumed he was like the other children in his neighborhood, children of survivors who wanted their parents to make new lives in their new country.
Oma and Opa let Dad and then us create a fairy tale. We built a life for them. We invented their past. We decided their lives were too heartbreaking to share.
And we were probably right.
I grew up thinking that the silence was because they were ashamed of having lived when everyone else was murdered. How was I to know how far that was from the truth? Now, all these years later, I have to try and understand. When I was 12, I told my parents I wanted to be like everyone else, which included going to the rabbi for bar mitzvah lesson. They didn't say yes. They didn't say anything. So I went. And I learned that no one should ever tell me that being a Jew is a bad thing.
No one except your own parents.
They never did that. If Oma and Opa were Nazis, what does that say about me?
You were a child, Daddy. You believed in your mom and dad.
And my cousin Joseph?
Oh, he believed in his mom and dad too. He grew up in a family that understood very well which side they were on.
The losing side.
The Jews were on the losing side.
Everyone is silent.
Listen to me. We don't know what any of this means to Joseph. It's more than 60 years since the war ended. It's 20 years since my parents died. More than that for Joseph's father. How do we know what Joseph believes?
All I know is I won't have a family of Nazis at Jared's bar mitzvah. They're not invited, Dad.
Barbara gathers her purse, finds her car keys, and gets ready to leave. She walks towards the door to her house.
Bobby. Am I?
End of play.
Fantastic reading, guys. Okay. Deborah, how did you feel about that read?
I love these guys. Thank you. And you really brought these people to where they needed to be, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for writing it.
Yeah, we enjoyed reading. All right, and we'll be looking forward to some more from Deborah through the year. We'll be continuing to record and do some other pieces that Deborah has written. So next up, we have Mariana Alsop's screenplay she's working on. We're just going to do, I think it's the first 9 pages, Mariana.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's Mac and Max.
Mhm.
Would you like to say anything else about the screenplay in progress?
Sure, sure. So this is a story titled Mac and Max, and it's basically about I guess 2 people on their own journeys, and they cross paths, and I think they learn I guess they each learn about life. So it's just a nice little story about how, you know, meeting one person could change your life.
Very cool. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to be reading stage directions. This is called Mac and Max, written by Mariana Golfin. A person is waking up underneath covers. Their alarm clock is blaring, and an arm reaches out to turn it off while their head is still under the covers. Their hand hits the hot carafe sitting on a mini coffee maker.
Ouch! Damn it!
Mac jumps up and hits her head on the bunk above and angrily throws off the covers. She slams the bunk closed. It falls right back down.
I've got to fix this damn thing. Maybe I will just nail it shut. Made in America, my ass.
Mac reaches for the coffee pot and pours it into a travel mug and puts an X on a calendar through the words "quit smoking" written.
Maybe tomorrow.
Mac opens the sunshade and reaches down on the floor and rummages around for a few seconds. Mac finally finds a half-full water bottle and uses it to water 2 small flower pots sitting in the window of the sleeper cabin. There's only soil visible in the pots.
I don't even know why I waste my time. Darn plants must be broken. Maybe they just sold me some dirt and forgot to plant the seeds. Grown in America, my ass. Oh shit, it's hot.
Mac pulls back the privacy curtain and walks to the front of the cabin and pulls back the sun visor. Blinding light floods the cabin, exposing the massive dashboard of the tractor trailer. Mac shuts the visor quickly, turns the ignition on, and turns up the air conditioner very high. Mac turns on an overhead lamp, pulls out a truck road atlas, and takes a sip from the travel mug.
Let's see if I can take Interstate 10 West.
Mac gets distracted by knocking on the driver's side window. Mac quickly snatches back the visor and is startled by the face of someone trying to peer into the window. The person looking in loses their footing and falls from their perch at the driver's window. Mac flips open the door and jumps out.
I hope you broke something. You can't just be jumping on people's personal property like that. Just who the hell?
Mac stops and looks closer at the person laying on the ground.
You're just a damn kid. You okay, kid? Maybe the whole break a bone thing was a little too harsh. Hopefully it's just a sprain there or here.
The kid jumps up and brushes off his pants. Roger. Max is Roger.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I'm not a kid. I'm not a kid, actually. In 4 years, I'll be 18.
If you keep surprising people like the way you just did, I can guarantee you won't make it to 18, kid.
And you aren't the first person to tell me I'm not going to make it. Well, I made it this far.
Max and Max share a brief moment of silence while they stare intensely at each other. Mac takes notice of a wheeled suitcase propped up against the front driver's seat side wheel of the semi-truck and points at it.
Let me guess. Running away?
Of course you'd assume that.
You aren't doing anything different from what I'm used to seeing. Listen, kid, time just repeats itself. You aren't the first and you won't be the last.
You adults are all the same. Maybe you're right. Never mind.
Max walks towards his rolling suitcase and suddenly he runs up and jumps into the open door of Mac's cabin and slams the door behind him. Mac runs towards the door and grabs the handle.
Kid, what the hell do you...
The sound of police sirens cut Mac off mid-sentence. She focuses her attention on the police cruiser as its tires make crunching sounds onto the gravel road. She glances up the driver's door window and can see Max's eyes peering from the bottom of the sunshield in the window and disappear when the door of the state trooper cruiser swings open.
What a way to start the day.
The state trooper steps out from the cruiser and adjusts his hat and begins to walk.
Everything okay?
Mac glances one more time at the window and sees Max pleading silently with his hands clasped as if praying.
Please don't.
Max disappears again behind the privacy curtain.
Ma'am, everything okay?
Yeah. Everything is as fine as can be.
The state trooper taps the luggage case with his foot.
Let me guess. Morning lovers quarrel?
Mac tilts her head to the side as if it would help her hear him better. And she looks down at her washed out Jimi Hendrix t-shirt, jersey knit shorts, and flip-flops. She folds her arms across her chest and walks towards the trooper and leans back against the door purposefully, keeping the trooper at bay.
Nothing of the such, sir.
You females. Let me guess.
You females?
Look, little lady, I can just grab this bag and you can come on in my nice air-conditioned car. Look at how he threw your bag out. Here like this. You aren't the first and you won't be the last, female.
Mac moves forward and steps in front of the bag as the trooper begins to bend down and pick it up.
I am not going anywhere with you. I don't need your help. Please move away from my bag and you can go patrol the rest of this dump for a desperate damsel in distress.
Feisty, feisty. When I ran the plates, the semi is registered to Mac Manny. Can you have a Mr. Manny step out, please?
The state trooper knocks on the side of the cabin.
Mr. McManny, Mr. McManny, can you step out, please?
He's sleeping. Let me go in and wake him.
You sure things okay with you going in?
I'm positive. Just give me a minute.
The state trooper obliges and steps back from Mac. Mac flashes him a smile, opens the door, and jumps in the cabin. She slams the locks to the door down, lifts up the privacy curtain, and gives the trooper a thumbs up. The trooper walks back to his patrol car and leans back on his hood. Mac opens the cabin door and jumps out with 2 plants in her hand.
Okay, say hi to Mr. Manny.
And Mac holds the plants up closer for the trooper to acknowledge them.
Ma'am?
Just when I thought you were the antisocial one.
What the hell are you trying to pull?
This is Mr. Manny. Well, what's left of him. I made sure I split up his ashes. I've always been clumsy.
Oh, miss, look, I'm sorry.
Like I was saying, I've always been clumsy, and I'd already dropped the urn numerous times. Swept up a few cigarette butts trying to get him back together.
Miss, you don't.
No. You wanted Mr. Manny to come out, so here he is. And for your record, I am Mac Manny. Mrs. McKellen Manny. And this is our rig. We go coast to coast, minding our own damn business.
Mac is hugging the plants with one arm and using her free hand, she points right into the trooper's face.
So if I want to step outside of my rig and get some air, I'm free to do so. Don't you agree?
Yeah, yes, you know, I see a lot out here.
I bet you do. I think that's enough, son. Let's go inside.
Max smiles at the trooper, swings open the door to her rig and grabs the rolling luggage and manages to get it in the cabin, still holding on to her plants. She slams the cabin door and looks out the window and watches the trooper leave. Timothy?
He's gone, kid. I don't think he'll bother.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Max is frantically trying to pick up spilled soil with the handheld sweeper and dustpan.
I didn't mean to knock over your husband.
Max hands her the dustpan. His hand is slightly trembling.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Mac takes the dustpan from Max and places her hand on his shoulder.
I'm sorry, kid. I just wanted that guy to leave. Being a female trucker is one thing, but being a crazy female trucker puts you in another league. My husband is gone, but he isn't in either of those plans.
Max sits down on the edge of Max's bunk and lowers his head.
You know, you really shouldn't do stuff like that. I almost thought we had something in common.
Max jumps up and pushes past Mac and grabs his suitcase. He opens it, rustles around, and pulls out a small wooden box.
Listen, kid, I doubt we have anything in common.
Stop calling me kid. My name is Max. Like I said, I almost thought.
Max cups the wooden box in between his hands.
This is all I have left of my grams. Mr. Corsava was nice enough to give her ashes to me. My mom never picked them up. He said that he knew I would take better care of them anyway. I take her on all my adventures.
Oh, I mean, Max, don't you think it would be safer at home?
I haven't had a home since she died.
You have to live somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere all right. My mom couldn't keep it together. She never did. I was always hungry, so Grams took me in. That's the last real home I had. I'm a foster kid now, and nobody.
Max stares at Max in silence for a moment.
Well, even though you call yourself a nobody, somebody is responsible for you. Why don't you put up Grams and we can figure out the next step? Deal? Max?
Max takes the wooden box and places it back into his suitcase.
You're turning me in?
To be continued. Okay, thank you, Mariana. That was amazing.
This is great.
Wow, thank you. Wow, thank you, thank you.
So we read that a while ago, you know, some of it, and you added a little bit on, and some people were reading it cold tonight, but I felt like we could really get into the characters anyway.
Yes,
Thank you. Everyone brought life to the characters. It was amazing to hear it, thank you. Wow. Awesome job,
right.
guys.
Thanks, Mariana.
Thank you.
All right. So that was another example of how, this group really helps. It helps to hear the screenplays out loud, and we all help each other out. We usually give a little more feedback generally on a regular night, but because we're doing a recording, we're going to go to our next 10-pager, which is part of a bigger piece by Chelsea Komorowski. Chelsea?
Yeah.
All right, she's just joining us. We're really reading this one cold tonight, but it's got a fun kind of name and theme going on. Hockey Night in Hell. You want to tell us a little bit about how you came up with this idea?
Sure. So I am a big hockey fan. Go Penguins. And I like to write very silly, over the top, cartoony stuff. So if anyone knows Adult Swim, in that kind of area, I actually wrote this to submit it into a screenwriting contest. So, fingers crossed. And a little summary of the plot is a hockey coach is on a bad losing streak with his team. So he resorts to demonic help to see if he can get his team back on track. And the demon who helps him comes from a special place, which is a little twist ending. Not in the first 10 pages, but it's a little bit of a plot twist.
Okay. All right, I think I'm doing the narration for this one too, right?
Yes.
Okay, Hockey Night in Hell, written by Chelsea. Interior, Hell's front desk. The unknown. Flames and lava are everywhere, with screaming being heard in the background. There's a demon lady sitting at a desk with a stack of papers and a typewriter. In front of her is a man with devil horns, and behind him is a very, very long line of other demon people waiting.
Okay, so you said your last name was Smith?
Yes, for the 100th time. Literally the 100th time, yes.
Can you spell that for me?
Spell that? What do you mean? It's Smith. How hard could that be to spell?
Sorry, could you say that again? It's hard to hear you over the sound of people screaming while they're being tortured.
Ugh, it's Smith. S-M-I-T-H. S-M-I. What was that next letter? Oh.
Through the front desk area is a long corridor filled with different chambers. One chamber has a sign that says, torture chamber for kid killers, ages 4 to 8. Another says, torture chamber for corgi killers. Another that says, torture chamber for people who chew too loud. Interior, torture chamber for food chewers, continuous. Chained up on a wall is a demon man who's wearing the shirt he died in. It's dirty with grease stains. His skin is pulled off, showing his muscle tissue. A hand reaches out over to a side table with different weapons. The hand grabs a bottle of lemon juice and sprays it on the exposed tissue. He screams in pain.
I'm sorry, please. It was just a mistake. I only did it once in my life.
The demon who's torturing him, Charlie, is seen for the first time. Charlie has a distinct 70s look with wavy hair, curtain bangs, and bell bottoms. She has a pitchfork that she stabs him with in the chest.
It was a McChicken Chicken Extreme. It was delicious. I couldn't help myself.
People like you need to be punished to the fullest extent.
If you had a McChicken Chicken Extreme, you would have done the same.
Shut up, nasty ass. This is great. I'm having the best time ever.
Interior, changing scene, interior radio announcer booth. Night. An old man with thick glasses and a headset sits in the booth, watching over the hockey game of the Southstead Serpents and the Drummond Victors.
Well, folks, Coach Randy Hutcherson looks like he's having the worst time ever.
Coach Randy Hutcherson, tall, middle-aged with slicked back hair and stubble, paces back and forth behind his players while they all sit awkwardly on the bench as he berates them.
If you're just joining us, the Serpents are losing 7-1 with 8 minutes to go in the third period. Really not a good night for the Serpents. Coach Hutcherson might have his third aneurysm of the night.
What are we doing? I thought you guys were playing hockey players. Start fucking playing like it. The players position themselves at center ice to drop puck.
The Victors win the faceoff and make their way up the ice with Darkowski leading the way.
Darkowski and his teammates skate up the ice and he passes it over to one of his teammates.
Darkowski passes it over to Carlson. He gets it into the Serpent zone.
Carlson shoots it across to his other teammate.
Carlson sends it over to Zarban. Zarjan gets cornered by Malkovich and Goodrow as they battle for the puck.
The three of them scramble over the puck in the corner boards, but Carlson gets a hold of it.
Carlson skates around the net.
Carlson passes it to another player in front of the net.
Carlson passes it over to Johnson.
Johnson holds it for a second, shoots the puck, and scores a goal. The fans jump up and cheer.
He shoots and scores. Oh, scratch my back with a hacksaw. Johnson makes it 8-1.
While the players from the Victors are celebrating their goal, Randy and his players look miserable. God damn it! Randy takes the player's backup stick and breaks it over his knee. If I wanted to watch someone fuck me over, I'd go back to the divorce court with my ex-wife. Randy walks away from the bench, making his way towards the locker room. His players wince as they can hear him screaming from the locker room in rage. Ah! Now, the Serpents' dressing room. The players sit around looking nervous and meek while Randy glares at them. We're only 14 games into the season, and we're already in the shitter. 6-game losing streak. You want to take over for the narrator while I'm doing this part?
He grabs someone's hockey stick and throws it across the room.
Is making a simple pass like rocket science to you, huh?
He catches his breath and calms himself down a little.
I want you all here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. sharp. And you're not leaving until you get things right and your legs feel like you're going to fall off your goddamn body.
He leaves and the players sit in silence for a moment.
So, I guess we suck now.
The players all mumble, yeah, in agreement. They start taking off their jerseys and get changed. Interior, liquor store, night. Randy grabs a case of beer from the fridge and starts to walk away. He turns back to the fridge and grabs another case. He starts to leave again, but turns to grab one more case. He brings all 3 cases up to the register and the cashier starts scanning the beer.
Hey, Randy.
He looks over and sees 2 frat boys in Victor's jerseys. They make a jerk-off motion at him and laugh. Randy just looks away annoyed.
May I see your ID?
Lady, I'm clearly old enough.
Just the law.
Come on. I had a long night, so just give me the damn beer and let me go.
The law is the law.
Randy grabs his wallet out of his pocket and hands his driver's license to the cashier, swearing under his breath. Exterior stoplight, night. Randy stops at a red light and waits for it to turn green. As he's waiting, a homeless man is sitting on the nearby sidewalk. He looks over at Randy and shouts out to him.
Spare change, please. Even $1 would help.
Fuck off, bum.
The light turns green and he drives away.
Asshole.
Interior, Randy's apartment, night. Randy walks through the front door of his apartment and puts all the beer cases on his coffee table. Randy cracks a beer open and takes a long sip. He grabs the remote off the coffee table and puts his legs up on it. He's about to turn on the TV until he's interrupted by a loud barking coming from the apartment above him.
Shut that fucking dog up.
The dog stops barking and he turns on the TV.
This is why I like cats better. They're much quieter.
The sports channel comes on with highlights of the victors and serpents. And then Johnson shoots one and making it 8-1 for the victors. You think that's where it ends, but just a minute later, Havalati goes on the breakaway. Roger, you want to do stage?
Oh, shit. He changes the channel to a soap opera. The two protagonists are holding each other in a moment of passion.
Oh, Sophia, mon amour, I would do anything to be with you, anything. I'd cross every ocean. I'd move every mountain. I'd even sell my soul to the devil to get what I want.
Randy raises an eyebrow upon hearing that last part.
Interesting.
Randy puts down his beer and reaches for his laptop on the other side of the couch. He opens it up and types on the screen, "How do you sell your soul to the devil?" into the search bar. Interior, outside food chewer chamber, time unknown. Charlie steps out of the chamber with a towel wrapped around her shoulders. She has a bottle of hot sauce in her hand and squirts some into her mouth.
Ah, refreshing.
Someone speaks over the loudspeaker. "Charlie, to my office, immediately."
Deborah, take over for the narration again.
Interior, Satan's office, continuous. Satan sits at his desk, towering over it, barely fitting in the chair while Charlie sits across from him. He's reading something off a paper.
"Having your tarot cards read while you're in the bathroom at Catholic school. Taking the birth control pill before it was legal. Vandalizing several vehicles. And drugs. Lots of drugs. You have a very impressive resume of sins. It's made you a perfect candidate to be one of my torture imps.
Thank you.
But I have a proposition for you. How would you like a higher position?
What is it?
A contractor.
Contractor.
Yeah, you go up to the surface world and you meet up with someone who wants to sell their soul. I used to go up myself back in the day, but I became too busy. I had to ask the other imps to do it. Gotten even busy over the past few years. People will sell their souls for literally anything. Match partner, achieving their dreams, a new car. Now someone sold their soul just to get a pack of Skittles gum again.
Satan slams his fist on the table and the room shakes.
Damn it! Could have kept the gum to myself. So delicious. I don't know why they discontinued it.
He gets a sticky pad and writes on it.
Note to self, make torture chamber for people who discontinued Skittles gum.
Skittles gum, like a blow pop?
Kind of. Skittles aren't lollipops, though.
Razzles?
No.
If I go to the surface world, I can get my hands on a Curly Whirly or a Snickers Munch Bar. Oh, and a Rally Bar and a box of...
So you'll do it then. You go up there and get the souls and candy?
Yeah, seems groovy to me.
Great. Here's your first client.
He hands Charlie a manila folder with some papers.
Hockey coach. His team is in the shitter right now and wants him to start winning. Pretty standard stuff. I'll be sending a lawyer imp with you as well.
A small black imp with a tie and a head that's a little too big for its small body walks into his office with a briefcase.
He's just there to make sure all the details in the contract are correct and no funny business happens.
The imp reaches out his little hand to Charlie for a handshake. She shakes his hand.
Oh, and
I'll get to it.
She gets up from the chair and opens the door to leave his office.
And Charlie, one last thing.
She turns back to look at him.
Do not come back empty-handed.
The imp is hiding behind her leg, trembling in fear.
No problem, boss.
Okay, wow, that was great, Chelsea.
Yeah, I love the voice acting for all of it. It was great.
Had you ever heard it before, like acted out like that?
No, I've read it over to myself to like check for spelling mistakes and whatnot, but not with other people.
So that was an interesting experience. I had a blast doing that part.
Yeah, sorry if it was a little too vulgar for some people. I might have should have put a
Yes, we're very
warning beforehand.
here.
We're all adults. Some of us more immature than others.
I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, thank you.
So that was fun. So you completed that screenplay, or?
Yeah, I submitted it to a script writing contest, so you know I had to complete it, and I wanted to. So.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing it with us.
You're welcome.
And we're glad to have you in the group now.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So, well, thank you to everybody that was able to show tonight. And it's really great to have this group to share our work. And now we're going to be on the Black Bear Film Festival channel. So we'll be doing some more pieces over the course of the year. Come on back and watch some more of our fun times on our screenwriting meets. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, Veronica, I just have a question for when you stop recording. It's about the film festival.
Okay, hold on.